Did you know that the Pilgrims tried communism and rejected it? That's right, they had no money and had to borrow from investors in London who wrote up company bylaws that everything would be held in common. It didn't work. Why? Let's find out by learning how we got here.
The Pilgrims obtained a land patent from the Virginia Company of London, but they had no money. They borrowed money from a group of investors in England, the Merchant Adventurers of London, who drew up bylaws, July 20th, 1620. The bylaws set up a communal system for the first 7 years in which all capital and profits were put into, quote, ye common stock, unquote. As stated, the persons transported and ye adventurers shall continue their joint stock and partnership together ye space of 7 years, during which time all profits and benefits that are got by trade, traffic, trucking, working, fishing, or any other means of any person or persons shall remain still in ye common stock. That all such persons as are of this colony are to have their meat, drink, and apparel and all provision out of ye common stock. That at the end of 7 years, ye capital and profit, fees of the houses, lands, goods, chattel, be equally divided betwixt ye adventurers and planters. Pilgrim Governor William Bradford recorded in Of Plymouth Plantation that they tried it and almost starved to death. The failure of that experiment of communal service, which was tried for several years by good and honest men, proves the emptiness of the theory of Plato and other ancients, applauded by some of latter times, that the taking away of private property and possession of it in community would make a state happy and flourishing, as if they were wiser than God. For in this instance, community of property was found to breed much confusion and discontent. For the young men, who were most able and fit for service, objected to being forced to spend their time and strength in working for other men's wives and children without any recompense. Bradford continued. The strong man or the resourceful man had no more share of food, clothes, etc. than the weak man, who was not able to do a quarter what the other could. This was thought injustice. The aged and graver men, who were ranked and equalized in labor, food, clothes, etc. with the humbler and younger ones, thought it some indignity and disrespect to them. As for men's wives, who were obliged to do service for other men, such as cooking, washing their clothes, etc., they considered it a kind of slavery, and many husbands would not brook it or allow it. Bradford explained why owning property in common failed. It did abolish those very relations which God himself has set among men, and greatly diminished the mutual respect that is so important should be preserved amongst them. Let none argue that this is due to human failing rather than to this communistic plan of life in itself. Bradford continued, I answer, seeing that all men have this failing in them, that God in his wisdom saw that another plan of life was fitter for them. So they began to consider how to raise more corn and obtain a better crop, so that they might not continue to endure the misery of want. After much debate, the governor, with the advice of the chief among them, allowed each man to plant corn for his own household. So every family was assigned a parcel of land according to the proportion of their number. This was very successful. It made all hands very industrious, so that much more corn was planted than otherwise would have been by any means, and gave far better satisfaction. The women now went willingly into the field and took their little ones with them to plant corn, while before they would allege weakness and inability, and to have compelled them would have been thought great tyranny and oppression. The switch to everyone owning their own land produced abundance out of which they could be charitable. Bradford wrote that after 1623, instead of famine, now God gave them plenty, and the face of things was changed to the rejoicing of the hearts of many, for which they blessed God. Some may ask, wasn't the early church communistic? No, the early church was the early church. Communism is counterfeit early church, and the difference is between the words voluntary and involuntary. The early believers voluntarily sold their property and laid the money at the feet of the apostles for the church to distribute. They did not have their land taken away from them and forced to involuntarily lay the money at the feet of Pilate for the Roman government to redistribute. In the Bible, each family was given property when they entered the promised land. If you own property, you can accumulate possessions. The Bible called this being blessed. Then you can be moved to voluntarily give away some of your possessions. The Bible called this charity. Karl Marx wrote in the Communist Manifesto, 1848, "The theory of the communists may be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property." If you don't own property, how can you be charitable? How can you give away what you do not have? Are you going to break the law and steal? This is not what the Bible teaches. Instead, God blesses you with possessions, then gives you the opportunity to express your love for others by voluntarily giving away some of your possessions in charity. Pilgrim pastor John Robinson wrote to Sir Edwin Sandys, December 15th, 1617, that the Pilgrims were knit together as a body in covenant of the Lord, straitly tied to care for each other's good. British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher stated in an interview with Human Events, February 5th, 1996, "Your founding fathers came over with that. They came over with the doctrines of the New Testament as well as the Old. They looked after one another not only as a matter of necessity, but as a matter of duty to their God. There is no other country in the world which started that way."
The Pilgrims found out that owning property in common demotivated everyone. Yet, if everyone was given their own plot of land, all hands became very industrious. And with that abundance, they celebrated Thanksgiving. For more information, visit AmericanMinute.com and TurningPointEd.com.